Lord and my God, I firmly believe that you hear me, that you see me, that you hear me. I adore you with profound reverence. I ask you for pardon for my sins, and the grace to make this time of prayer fruitful. My Mother Immaculate, Saint Joseph, my Father and Lord, my guardian angel, intercede for me. I have sometimes explained what happened to me one day on a train. It was very quiet until a group of youngsters got on. They sat together and were speaking a bit loudly. Basically, they were complaining about everything. About the train, the country, the weather, the cost of everything, their families, their friends who were not present. I got the impression they were quite bitter. But suddenly, one of them shouted the magic word, "Selfie!" And there was an immediate transformation. Instantly, they started smiling like in a toothpaste commercial, the face of happiness. They took about 15 pictures with stiff faces, but none of them looked good enough. I was about to tell them that the problem wasn't the phone, or the light, or the camera. It was their faces. But they finally decided on one, and then the fake smiles were dropped, and they spent 15 minutes putting on a dozen filters before posting it on Instagram. I don't know if they managed to fool their friends online. I guess that those who saw the picture thought they were the happiest guys in the world and could sell toothpaste galore. But for those of us on the train, there was no mistake. They resumed the bitter conversation. They didn't smile anymore. It was all fake. And it seems like the important thing in life is not to be happy, but that people think we are. And I remembered this anecdote when I read your words today, Jesus, about Nathanael. We read today in the Gospel how Philip found Nathanael and said to him, "We have found him whom Moses in the law and the prophets wrote, Jesus of Nazareth, the son of Joseph." And Nathanael answered, "Can anything good come out of Nazareth?" Philip didn't take him up on the matter, but just led him to you, Jesus. And when you saw him approaching, you said of him, "Here you have a true Israelite in whom there is no guile." The Greek word for guile is dolos, deceit, simulation, fraud. Basically, what you see is what you get. No filters. Nathanael heard that and asked you, Jesus, "How do you know me?" And you answered, "Before Philip called you, when you were under the fig tree, I saw you. When no one was watching you, I was." And that was enough for Nathanael to fall at your feet and confess, "Rabbi, you are the Son of God. You are the King of Israel." It takes a lot of simplicity. No duplicity, no deceit. Minutes after asking if anything good could come out of Nazareth, he falls on his knees and becomes the first to declare that you are God and King. Someone else could have thought, "Oops, I've just said this about the people of Nazareth to Philip. I'm not going to say now otherwise. He's going to think I'm a little bit." But here is the key, Jesus. Nathanael couldn't care two hoots about what anyone thought of him. And this can give us prayer today. You, Jesus, offer few praises in the Gospels. And yet you praised Nathanael, Saint Bartholomew, because he was a man of integrity, who cared little about what people thought of him. And so, he could follow you straight away, without stopping to think whether people approved it or not. Jesus, how important it is that I care only about what you think and not about what others think of me. I think that some of the greatest mistakes of our lives have been made by trying to impress or to please the wrong people. I personally regret things I shouldn't have said and things that I just did to please other people. I may have fooled those people, but not you, Jesus. For you see me like Nathanael under the fig tree, when no one else sees me, without Instagram filters or fake smiles. It's what we called posturing, a display intended to attract attention or interest, to make people believe something that is not true, to pretend, to try to get admiration or approval from others. In 2011, Bronnie Ware published The 5 Regrets of the Dying. For years she had been nursing patients in palliative care, and during her conversations with them, she discovered the most common regrets people had at the end of their lives. And regret número uno, the top common regret, was, I wish I'd had the courage to live a life true to myself and not the life others expected of me. How sad it would be to find myself at the end of my life, discovering that I lived trying to fulfill other people's expectations and not yours, Jesus. Trying to get the approval of others, to get many likes from the world, and forgetting to please you, Lord. Jesus, may I never have to regret this, worrying too much about what people think and not enough about what you think of me. May I never try to be popular. Like Saint Teresa of Calcutta said, God does not require that we be successful, only that we be faithful. In any case, I think that trying to impress other people is a sin that usually carries its own penance with it, because it is a source of personal suffering. Maybe what makes some people suffer most is worrying about what others say or think about them. You may have heard the famous quote of Mark Twain, I've had a lot of worries in my life, most of which never happened. We suffer when we imagine what others will think or say. Maybe even more so if we find out that others neither think nor talk about us. Well, I think that if Nathanael had a smartphone today, he wouldn't waste a second of his life checking how many followers he had, how many likes he had, or if people talked about him or what they said or thought. Jesus, the only like I'm interested in is yours. And I know that if I spend my life seeking people's approval, I may miss your approval and my happiness. If they laugh at you, Jesus, how could I expect them not to laugh at me, trying to be like you? If they crucified you, Jesus, how could I expect not to be attacked myself? If they threw stones at Saint Stephen and Saint Paul, and of Nathanael, tradition says that they crucified him upside down like Saint Peter, how could I be surprised if people don't like what I say, what I do, or what I am. Mary, my Mother Immaculate, at the beginning of this new year, I ask you that your children may never fear to be different, to be themselves, that we may have the courage to live our lives not according to people's expectations, but God's expectations, that we be real, not artificial, not posturing, not using filters. That your son could say about me, "Behold, a true Christian, in whom there is no guile." I give you thanks, my God, for the good resolutions, affections, and inspirations that you have communicated to me in this meditation. I ask you for help to put them into effect. My Mother Immaculate, Saint Joseph, my Father and Lord, my guardian angel, intercede for me.